I just wish to comment on three personal observations. Firstly, we have a couple of points of connection. We both left the lower house in 2007, thanks to Kevin 07 and that campaign. But we had the privilege of working with John Howard as Prime Minister, and I had engaged with Gary on a number of occasions in that process and developed a respect for him and the way that he worked. Secondly, he did have a close relationship with the Prime Minister, to the extent that when the Socceroos in 2006 were playing against Croatia in the World Cup, at some unearthly hour of the morning, the Prime Minister the night before said to Gary, "You should get a few colleagues to come around and watch the game." And so Gary did a bit of a ring around. I was one of the few people remaining here to attend a committee meeting the next day. And so Gary and I ended up with the Prime Minister, and there is a famous photo which constituents still send me on occasion saying, "You're that bloke," with Gary sitting on one side of John Howard, me on the other wearing one of John Howard's tracksuit tops because it was a bit cool at 5 o'clock in the morning, and John Howard leaping in the air as Australia scored the first equalising goal against Croatia. So there's a point there where he and I will be forever, at least in image, connected through that. But the main thing that I wanted to comment on was that during that time, having left the military and come into the parliament, I sort of was looking around at the people who were working and looking at people that I saw as role models, and the obvious ones like the Prime Minister and John Anderson. But one of the things that Gary taught through the way that he worked was, and to use the soccer analogy, he played the ball and not the man or the woman. He was very focused, very passionate. He would pursue things with vigour, but he always fought on the basis of the issue and didn't attack people. He was respected. He sought to find common ground to get outcomes that were good for his community and for the nation. And so as a fairly new parliamentarian at the time, Gary was one of the people that I looked at as a role model for how you can be a parliamentarian, not a politician just with an eye on the next election. To go right back to Abraham Lincoln and Burke and some of those people and the statements that they made, not an eye on the next election, but an eye on the next generation. And that was how he worked, and particularly as we saw him continue with his duties as he mourned the loss of his wife, Kerry, a very difficult period for him. He continued with his empathy for other people. He mourned, he grieved, but he still served and was empathetic, and he still worked with dignity. And there's a lot that I think people from all sides can learn from someone like Gary and the legacy he has left. Vale, Gary, and sympathies to his current wife, Rose, children Ben and Deborah.
Thank you.